it's summertime, and we were gifted a pass by my in-laws for Christmas to this water park hotel.
Oh,
And
I like those.
they had like this pool area with water slides and the lazy river and all that stuff. But then they also had like this arcade, and it had like
Yes.
a trampoline park in it and go-karts. We were in the water park area. We were in the pool, and this guy had like this. First of all, I'm amazed at the amount of people who have tattoos.
Yeah,
Just like
it's a big thing.
just like incredible. Like not just like tattoos, but like big tattoos. So many people there with tattoos. I felt like I was like at a Yakuza conference or something. And this guy had a full back tattoo. I really wish I had taken a photo of it, but I didn't have my phone because I was in the pool. Full back tattoo. And think like old time, like Vietnam War era, like quality of tattoo. Like there's lots of tattoos now, and I feel like tattoo technology, as a non-tattoo guy, observing tattoos, you see some really good shit, like really sharp and different colors in this. But I want you to think like old. The ink is like greening in your skin, like it looks like somebody did it with a rusty nail or something, right? But then what it actually was appeared to be like a nuclear power plant. You know, like in The Simpsons, they have those big towers.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're exactly called, but they're these big cylindrical towers, right?
Yeah.
And this nuclear power plant tower was at an angle, so you could see like the opening at the top of the tower.
Okay.
And when that's done as a crude drawing, it just looks like a giant cock.
Yeah, I was about to say penis.
And so this guy's nuclear tower was surrounded by two smaller towers in the distance. So it looked like he had three cocks rising up his back.
Okay.
And then at the base was a bunch of trees, which looked like pubes.
Ugh.
So I was looking at this guy from across the pool,
upset.
and I'm like, this guy's got three dicks on his back.
No,
he's legit
so
got three
upset.
dicks on his back.
Any lettering? Nothing. No explanation.
No, not that I could tell. But again, the ink was so like blurry, like you could tell it was bleeding out. It was the worst tattoo I've ever seen in my life.
Don't leave me at this saying that this guy had 3 nuclear reactor shafts with some trees and not anything else. Give me more detail.
No, that was it. That was literally it.
Something, an accompanying tattoo that maybe you didn't realize.
Maybe like something that said "Wish you were here."
Megadads Live is a mature-rated podcast. It's for the mega dads, the mega moms, but not the mega kids. So put on those earmuffs and let's go!
If you're gonna get a full back tattoo, like it's gotta be high quality, and it's gotta be colored in, right? Like you want something that's filled in nicely, not just a bunch of outlines that look like a wiener.
Yeah, the more visible it is, the more quality you probably should invest in there. God, please let me run into this person at a water park so I will not hesitate to run up to him. I'm like, I need answers.
He's inviting
Tell me what it means. Tell me what it means.
I would never take my shirt off if that was on my back, unless I was expecting people to come up and invite conversation.
Was this an old person, a young person?
He was probably like 50.
Maybe it's like an old war thing, and it's like I was in the 105th like 3 nuclear reactor dick corps. Like you know what I mean? Like they called us the 3 dicks or something. So, I don't know.
Would you ever get? First of all, you don't have tattoos, do you?
No,
I feel like that's
I've
something
always
I would know about you.
It's because I haven't ever like solidified that I love something so much.
Yeah.
That, that's not going to change. Like I was going to get the Chicago Blackhawks tattoo, which, I'm a big Hawks fan. It's a great like logo. It's a big hockey family here, but Then there was like some controversy, like there was some like stuff that went down that I was just like, man, I really wouldn't be comfortable like having even something that I think I would love, like
Yeah.
Halo. I always thought like I'm gonna get a Halo tattoo. This will never die. And then it's like the most beloved franchise from my Xbox Microsoft is like not total trash, but it's like it's lost its luster.
Right.
And it's like what has never lost its luster enough where I want it on my body or visible or even just to me, like nothing. So nothing yet. I didn't pull the trigger, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. The 3 things I would have gotten would all have been kind of mistakes.
Yeah,
So it's just like
you and I are, I think, of the same mindset where it's like no matter what it is and how much I love it, the instant it would become permanent on my body, I would lose my mind that it was there and I couldn't get rid of it.
like Kanye West, right? So it's like, oh, I love Kanye West's early stuff. Like I love his first 2-3 albums, and then all the shit goes down. Can you imagine? You just got like, you know, Kanye, like or whatever, and it's like, oh, his name's Ye now. Like you don't know what's gonna change. Like the world is shifting way too fast for tattoos. It's like if I got Biden like 2028
Yeah,
or whatever it
in
is,
today's day and
2024.
age, you can't rely on
Yeah.
anything to put it
Holy
in your
shit.
skin. How you doing? What's up with you?
I am doing okay. It's up and down. It's a crapshoot. Like every day, you know, you open your eyes and then you ask yourself, like, should I wake up? You know, like,
Anymore?
should I? Yeah, should I wake up or should I just go back to bed? Something that, you know, is bringing a lot of joy to my life is my daughter is, you know, she's growing up really fast as far as like actual size. So every time she goes to sleep, if she ate something like a gremlin, if she's ingesting energy into her body and then like goes to sleep or takes a nap, she's waking up like a 1/4 inch taller every time. So she's just huge. My wife's super short. I'm not the tallest person, so this is getting scary. She's only 4 and she's half our size. So I'm just like you know, like in the monster movies where it's like this thing is growing at an alarming rate. And it's like it's not a problem yet.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of still cute. But you know that this puppy's gonna grow like
Right.
that. That's where I am right now. So that's my life right now, watching my little girl grow and getting scared. I'm like, I hope she's not taller than me.
Is this going to be like a Clifford the Big Red Dog situation where all of a sudden
Oh
you're
my
just like,
God,
oh my God, it's
Clifford.
not stopping?
You remember the Honey I Blew Up the Kid?
Yeah.
Where the baby ends up being big?
Mhm.
That would have been a way bigger disaster if it was a real like life thing, right? Because like nothing really happens, but a toddler would totally be eating people.
Yeah, that
You know,
kid
do you
was
ever
way
see-
too cautious.
Yeah, he's like, oh, let me step carefully. Like, you ever see a kid just eat an ant? Like, that's what it would be doing. It would be like ingesting human beings, like as it goes,
Yeah.
like slobbering on everything, just taking a dump, like wherever. Like that's what would happen.
Oh,
so,
man. How did they not do that in that movie?
yeah,
Where that kid just like
Top-
takes a massive shit in the middle of the city,
yeah,
like from a top of a skyscraper, and it just falls and crushes a group of people at the bottom.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid remake. Are you in,
Oh,
Adam?
man. I'd be all over that shit. I'd be all over that shit. Well, let's start this episode the way we always do with our
Mega Dad's being super positive.
I know that your child is bringing you joy, but this is where we talk about things that are uplifting our spirits. And I gotta say, I really enjoy the Olympics. The
good,
Olympics are it's fun to watch
Fun.
the sports, but it's also fun to watch the different cultures. Like I am a person that is conscious of exposing my children to different things in the world because I want to foster tolerance and understanding and knowledge of stuff. When we watched the opening ceremonies, there were so many countries that I had literally never heard of, that it both made me feel dumb because I was like, I probably should know this stuff. But also it was just like, how cool is that there are places in the world that have this much ambition that they're making it to the Olympics that like I will never see, and probably a lot of them I will never hear of. Like I feel like everybody's viewpoint is getting narrower and narrower. So I see all these countries and I'm like, man, how many places in the world do I just not even know exist? And I think that is so cool I love those moments of feeling like you're a small part of a big picture or a big story. It's the same thing with like space, and you hear about how the universe is always expanding, but even just planet Earth itself is so much
it's huge.
bigger than I can even wrap my head around. And I just think that shit is so cool. Does that stuff interest you at all?
Absolutely. When you get older, you start to realize like what you know is largely shaped by like the education, yes, but also like entertainment. So if you watch movies, a lot of them are timepieces and a lot of them are like, oh, this movie is set in Guam or whatever it is. And it'll be like you think that every other place on the earth is like not industrialized. They don't have the internet, like they don't, like there's no cars there, stuff like that. But then you realize that the modern world is, happening all around you. So you have all these cultures that, you have no idea about. Like they have their own, music, food, and people, and politics and structure and all this stuff. And you realize that other places in the world are good too. American exceptionalism, like, kind of goes out the window a little bit when you realize other places are cool.
Mhm.
Other places have like free healthcare. Other places are safe, like
Right.
other places are clean, like stuff like that. It's like, oh, they have internet there. Your little bubble needs to break sometimes, and the Olympics are a really good way to do that. And yeah, the storylines of the sports and like who's gonna win. When's the next Michael Phelps moment when he's gonna like get all these medals and get them stripped for like smoking some weed? Like I can't wait. I can't wait for the next storyline.
There was one country, and forgive me, I don't remember the name of it, but their flag was like this big red flag that had a machete through the center and then like half of a big cog, like half of a big gear. And it looked like something straight out of Gears of War. It was like a big gear and then a sword
cool.
going through it. And I was like, fuck, that is hardcore. So cool.
That's great. Yeah, you're like, I think that the opening ceremony was like, it made news for having what appeared to be a Assassin's Creed like reference where you had like hooded figure jumping along rooftops. Like I like that, bringing the world together. Like the home country gets to show off and say, here's what we're about, here's all the technology we have, here's the entertainment stuff that we could show you. Like that is just a cool idea. So Olympics are cool.
There was a lot of great moments in that opening ceremony. There was like the little dude, the Assassin's Creed guy, was like running around with the torch the whole time, and he'd go from like you're talking about, he went from one point of interest to another, all this French historical stuff. And then at one point it like cuts to this fake Marie Antoinette where she's got her head chopped off and she's holding it in her hand.
Oh no.
And then the head like starts talking, and then the camera pulls back and it's like this castle, and there's this death metal band playing on the castle with fire shooting into the air. And like you said, I was like, America sucks. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
This is rad. What's your super positive?
So I am positive about new polling. We talked about it last time, but Biden has passed the torch to Harris, and we are going in a new direction now, and we have some momentum. If you've seen the news about politics, then you know that there is great enthusiasm and people from a grassroots standpoint raising money. I joined a Threads group called Swifties for Harris, right? So, or it was Swifties for Kamala, one of the two. So the Swifties are out there. The Taylor Swift fans are mobilizing, and they're planning on getting people to go to vote.gov to register to vote at the Taylor Swift concerts. And God bless them. Like whatever political affiliation you are, vote. It's a sad stain on us that only a small percentage of literally people alive and of voting age in the country vote or are registered to vote. Like they stay home as if they have no say in what's going on. Things are bad, people. Help! Please.
And then they
Obi-Wan
think they have the right to
Kenobi.
bitch about everything when it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, you had a fucking chance to kind of help.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
Obi-
I didn't know you were a Swiftie.
Yeah. I am now.
I need to mine
she's-
this. I need to explore this a little bit.
I mean, I didn't realize that how cool, you know, she was. Like I had just like, I'm not into the music too much, but once the NFL relationship happened, once I started, you know, seeing the stuff that she's about, you know, she had campaigned for Biden before. At least I had seen this video or this photo of her like releasing like this pro Biden photo or whatever. So it was just like, she seems cool. You know what I mean? So sure, I want to support the Swifties that are going to support democracy. Let's go.
Let's go.
So you're our only hope, everyone. Please vote.gov will bring you through the steps for your state of what it takes to register to vote. Register before the registration deadlines. So just do it now, and then you could figure out the voting stuff later. But it will also tell you about where you should vote and the polling place and all that. Vote.gov, please.
Let's
For the love of God.
let's shut this My Pillow loving motherfucker down once
Oh my
again. Let's
God.
ride another big blue wave. All right, let's talk about a game that I've been playing. As we talked about last episode, it's a time for backlog. It's a time for indie titles. And I've been playing this game called, now you'll have to forgive me if I mispronounce this game. It's called SCHiM. 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 And this game is a really charming indie title. It's like a puzzle platformer, if you will. It kind of takes the idea of Frogger, the old classic arcade game where you're hopping across a level to try to get to your goal, but it puts it in a 3D isometric space. And rather than hopping against traffic, you are a being who lives inside of shadow, and you can only traverse by hopping from shadow to shadow. I'm going to explore this a little bit and kind of flesh out the gameplay and the story. The game begins where you are this shadow character. There's no dialogue and there's no narration, so it's kind of like you absorb the story by playing through it. So at the beginning of the game, you are inside the shadow of a young boy. And the game gets you used to tutorials where you can hop in and out of his shadow. You aren't his actual shadow. It's not like a Peter Pan thing where you are his shadow, but you live in it. And so you belong to this little boy. And the game introduces you to the mechanics where it's like he's playing in his backyard and you're inside of his shadow, but you can hop out into like the shadow of the bushes or the shadow of his playset. And then when you hop back into the boy, then you're controlling him directly. Now all of a sudden you're controlling the boy himself and you can run around and do things. And then they do this really great vignette of you staying with this boy as he ages up. He goes to school, he goes to college, he gets a girlfriend. It's like this very beginning of Up kind of thing where you're like watching this person in a very brief and juncated view of his life as he goes forward and forward and forward, and then he falls on hard times.
Oh my God.
And he gets fired from his job.
Are you
and
serious?
He breaks up with his girlfriend and he loses his apartment and everything is going really bad for this dude. And it's like all presented in silent movie kind of, you're just watching it expand with this beautiful music. And it's like, it's touching. You're like, oh my God, like I'm not this character, but I'm bonded to him and I'm seeing him go through this shit. And then horrible of all horrible things, he trips and you become separated from his shadow. The worst possible thing that could happen to this guy and to you at his moment of being down on the world, you are separated, and he gets up and he walks away because he doesn't even know you exist. He doesn't know that you live in his shadow. And all of a sudden you're in this Benji mode where I'm his pet, I'm his shadow character, and he's gone off without me. And I have to make the long journey to get back to his shadow. And that is the setup for this game. Is you are a lost shadow creature trying to get back to your owner. Really cool setup.
That's sad.
Really cool
That's
concept.
so sad.
And
Okay.
so the following of this game is every level you are in a new area, and the game will show you that the end of the level is where your owner is. And you're trying to make your way through the level to get to the owner, to get to the guy whose shadow you live in.
Mhm.
And you do so by jumping through shadows. You have to take it's really cool because like if you jump out of the shadow, you'll dry up and then you'll pop back in a respawn point. So it's kind of like puzzle elementy, is like, where can I jump to that I'll actually be able to reach? I can only jump so far, and I can't last outside of the shadows. You have to manipulate some of the items, some of the environment around you. So if it's like somebody's riding by on a bicycle, you have to jump in the bicycle's shadow and ride that to a new area. Sometimes there's birds flying overhead, and it uses perspective. So it's like you see the bird's shadow on the ground, and you have to jump in the bird's shadow, and he'll fly you to a new area. Really cool ideas about lighting and shadow that kind of elevate the idea of just jumping from point to point, right? It could be very simple for them to just fall back on, you're just jumping from shadow to shadow. It doesn't quite go as far as I wanted to. I'd like to see a lot more fresh concepts, because really this is all it is for the entire game. So it's not particularly challenging in the sense that they don't introduce new puzzle mechanics. It's always still, I'm just trying to find how to get to that next shadow, which is kind of a bummer. But there are a few cool moments where they play with the lighting. There's an area where it's raining outside and lightning will flash, changing the shadows on the ground. And that makes it kind of like a timed puzzle thing, because you have to jump into shadows as they reveal themselves with a lightning flash before they disappear. So that's kind of cool. But really, it's just kind of like that same thing the whole way through. So this game really rides by on its aesthetic. It's got this wonderful line art and simple color palette thing that is just always visually beautiful to look at. It is just really incredible, especially in motion. And then the storyline is just it's kind of cute, right? It's kind of charming. It's simple. You don't need to understand a lot of plot points. But the shortcomings of this game are that it's not fresh enough. It has this really great concept, but it doesn't do enough with it. And then also, it can be kind of frustrating because the camera work is you use your shoulder buttons to rotate on a snap. So you can't manipulate the camera 360 with your analog stick like we can in modern 3D games. You click your button and it'll like snap it 90 degrees. And that can be pretty frustrating, because a lot of the challenge of this game is, oh shit, I missed the jump because I couldn't see it. I missed the jump because the camera wasn't right. It's not because you couldn't figure out the puzzle. It's because the limitations of the camera and the controls made it harder than it really should have been. And that can be kind of frustrating.
When you shift your perspective, does the angle of the shadow in the world change?
No, and it's funny that you say that, because that is the exact comment that Elliot had this morning when we were playing it. He said it would be really cool if when you change the camera, it changed the light direction so that the shadows would change.
Yeah,
the camera.
That's exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. When you see the game, you're thinking, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is the mechanic.
I've played about 3 hours of this game so far, and there has been nothing that allows you to manipulate the shadows themselves, which to me seems like a natural, like that's what they should do. That's what the mechanic they should introduce, is how can you change the shadows? You never really have control of the shadows. You just have to navigate them.
Right.
So that seems like
That's
a missed
interesting.
opportunity. And it also seems like an unnecessary restraint in the fact that it just lets you click the 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Like if it doesn't really matter and it's not a control mechanic, just let me control the camera in a full 360. Let me take the reins there.
I thought it was either going to be the perspective shifts the shadow angle, or at a certain point you'd be able to change the time of day to like extend the shadows and like make it noon where there's like
Yep.
very like little shadow. I like something like that. So it looks like it has interesting ideas, but it's kind of like, so it overstays its welcome a bit, would you say?
I'll reserve judgment until I finish it, because
Yeah.
I mean they may be introducing, but it just kind of seems uneven. Some of the levels are really short, some of the levels are really long. They do a time of day thing where you're playing through a day, so as the levels progress,
okay.
the angle of the sun does change the shadows. So if it's sunset, the shadows are like really long, but it doesn't do it in real time. So it's kind of unnecessary. It doesn't really have the impact that I think it would if the sun was moving in real time and you could see the shadows elongating. It's a good concept. It's really clever, but it kind of is hampered by some of the limitations. And the other thing is, the whole goal of the game seems to be trying to get to this dude, trying to get back to your owner. And every level, he's your goal. He's at the end of the level. So every time you get to the end of the level, he walks away. And then you do the next level, and it's like, oh, there he is. And then you get to the end, and he walks away. And oh, I just missed him. Oh, I just missed him.
Castle type thing.
Yeah, and it's like this idea of failing upwards, failing to the next level, kind of gets under your skin. It kind of gets frustrating where it's like, is this really all I'm going to be doing for the whole game? Is like, almost got him, almost got him, almost got him. So yeah, I feel like it is going to be that thing where it's like, this probably would have been a better 2-hour experience, and you could just have a lot of fresh for a little bit of time, but they're stretching it out and they're stretching it out. But again, I'm going to reserve judgment until I finish it. Right now, it's a game that's charming, and I really appreciate the aesthetics and the concept, but there are some limitations that kind of make it just kind of like it's good. It's good. It's not amazing. It's not great, but it's good.
There is a demo available on Steam. I'm sure that there's a demo available on other platforms. So take a look, give it a try, and see if you like it.
Yeah, I appreciate these unique indie things. Like I said, it was kind of interesting playing into it. I was like, oh, this is like Frogger, but like, what if Frogger had a little bit more? It's arcadey in that way. But yeah, SCHiM is an interesting bite-sized game that is perfect for like the summer lull. You need something quick to play for a week. Give SCHiM a try. And that sound is our caboose, which means it's the end of the episode. We're going to give you a recommendation of something outside of the world of video games that we think you might enjoy. Antonia, what's in your caboose?
Let's get controversial, okay? Let's get spicy. Okay, let's divide the community here a little bit. I went on a work trip to Oklahoma City, and I was feeling adventurous, as I do when I'm traveling. And we went to this this bar restaurant area with coworkers, etc. And there was a buffet, okay? And at this buffet, there was like artisanal like pizza, like pizzas with like very unique toppings, let's say.
Okay.
Fig and stuff like that. So I happened to pick up a slice of pizza that had none other than pineapple. Now, I don't eat pineapple on my pizza, mostly because I hadn't tried it. I was in the camp of that's ridiculous.
Oh,
Let's
you've
not
never
do that.
tried it?
I had not tried pineapple pizza. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. It looked good. So it had a couple things on there. It wasn't just pineapple. It had like, maybe there was some onion, maybe there was some other things. But pineapple was like one of the main stars of the show, right? Took a bite, started to devour this thing, went back for seconds, thirds, fourths. It was delicious. Adam,
Yes.
I have changed my stance. I have to recommend pineapple on pizza. It works. It's a little tangy. It's a little fun,
Yum.
a little fresh,
Yum.
and it works. Where do you stand on said pineapple pizza?
I enjoy it.
You do eat it.
I do
Okay.
like it. It's not
Wow.
ever gonna
Savage.
be my go-to. To me, it's like a chicken Alfredo pizza, right? Where it's like, yeah, I like it. Is it gonna be my go-to? No. Will I get it every
Can
once
you
in a while?
order
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you do order it here and there.
I do. My wife loves it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she'll
So she's
order
into it.
I mean,
It's
it's
pre- it's pretty
Hawaiian
good.
pizza. You know, it's Canadian bacon and pineapple, but she loves it. I think that's probably her favorite. I personally am a trash pizza guy. Like, just put peppers
Whatever.
and
Oh,
onion.
that's
And
too much. You gotta have a balance of some type. You can't have just like an abundance of.
I'm a garbage
things on
pizza
there.
guy. I will absolutely. You just pile a bunch of shit on my
It's
pizza.
too much
I love
flavor. It's overwhelming to the taste
it.
bud.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
I like a
There's
lot of stuff in
backup.
my mouth at the same time.
Yeah, like shove it in there. There is another style pizza. Have you ever tried a barbecue chicken pizza?
Yeah.
So barbecue sauce base instead of a marinara
Yeah.
like tomato sauce base with barbecue chicken and onion and like there's a little green pepper or something on there. Really good.
To me, the barbecue chicken pizza is best on a thin crust.
It is thin crust.
Yeah,
Yes. You can't.
yeah. I
thicken up
can't
that
have
shit.
like a bunch of barbecue with like a thicker crust, but like you get like a
No,
flatbread
like
barbecue.
a little tang. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
My caboose
my caboose.
actually comes from friend of the show, Luke Lore. He
Luke Lore.
He texted me about a month ago after watching a movie that he wanted to recommend to me, and it was on Netflix. And I hadn't had a Netflix account, but I was planning on starting a short trial period because we love watching the Jurassic World animated show that's on Netflix.
Oh, okay, cool.
Great show. Way better than it has any right to be. It's a fantastic show, and there was a new season of it, so I knew I was going to be starting it up. This movie's called Ultraman Rising. Now,
Oh.
Ultraman is a long-standing Japanese IP, kaiju. Ultraman comes out and he fights all Godzilla kind of stuff. But I'd never really seen it. I'd never experienced any Ultraman stuff other than just like knowing that it existed. And this is a CG animated movie original to Netflix. And I watched it with my son because Luke said, "You'll love this. You'll love it with your son. Give it a shot." So I put it on one day, just kind of like expecting to maybe watch it kind of in the background or whatever. This movie's fantastic. It's
Really?
really, really good. Visually striking, lots of bold colors. The angular characters are stylized in a really cool way. I love when animated movies kind of go that stylish, edgy route rather than trying to make things look realistic. I love that kind of stuff. And Ultraman Rising has a great visual style to it. And it's also a movie about parenthood, which I did not expect in a kaiju movie, but it's all about legacy and what our parents do for us and how we might not appreciate it until we get to a certain point in our lives and can identify with the sacrifices they made. Some pretty good theme in this movie and awesome action. Loved it. So big thanks to Luke for the recommendation, and I recommend it further to all of you guys. Give Ultraman Rising a watch on Netflix. It is a great time.
Wow. Okay, good. Excellent.
I would not
Check it
expect,
out.
like, I'm not the kind of guy, not a Power Rangers fan. I'm not the biggest Godzilla guy. Like, some of it I like, but it's just not in my view. But Ultraman was really, really good. I recommend it highly. And that's going to do it for us on this episode of Megadads Live. Make sure that you join the Megadads Discord so you can talk to us offline about what you like on your pizzas. That's going to do it for us. We have a whole bunch of great stuff coming. Antonio's been a busy little bee. All sorts of movie reviews. Like, you've been doing all sorts of great stuff, Antonio.
Yeah, we call it Movie Magic Reviews. We're going to the movies, seeing all the summer flicks, talking about them. We start out with like, should you see it? Should you not? Is it worth your time? And then we talk spoilers at the end, which is always fun because, as we say, we got to talk about it. Like, if you saw the movie, then we have to talk about this once you got out and like get your thoughts on it. So give it a star rating. It's a fun time. So check it out. We try to keep those episodes to like 20 minutes if we can. And excellent. Yeah. Check it out on the Megadads YouTube.
I'll be checking it out. It's the best time to go to the movies. Get yourself some popcorn. All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Megadads Live. Bye.